everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk. I am your host, John, and today here on the channel, we're going to be talking about For a Few Dollars More, the follow-up to A Fistful of Dollars that came out in 1965. And we're also here today to talk about the brand new INRO 4K Blu-ray that just came out. But before we get into that 4K Blu-ray review, I always like to give a quick film review, and today is no different. So if you don't want to know anything about the film For a Few Dollars More, and you're just here for that 4K Blu-ray review, you guys can skip ahead to that right now. So back in 1965, Sergio Leone directed the follow-up to the Dollars trilogy, or the Man with No Name trilogy, For a Few Dollars More. And this is your classic middle child. It suffers from middle child syndrome, essentially, where it's the most forgotten about in the Man with No Name trilogy. People always bring up A Fistful of Dollars because that's really the one that put Clint Eastwood on the map. And then The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is just considered one of the greatest westerns of all time, and even one of the greatest epics of all time. And really, the entire three movies are building to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You know, the first film is like the introduction to Clint Eastwood's character, the Man with No Name. In this movie, we introduce Lee Van Cleef. We introduce him to the entire world, into this universe, and really he gets the big focus point, especially in the beginning, like Clint Eastwood did in the first film. And then when we get to the third movie, we're going to be concentrating on three characters: the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I just feel like because of that, For a Few Dollars More always gets forgotten about. And it's really a shame because the first movie is a complete ripoff of Yojimbo. And I mean, Clint Eastwood knew that. When he read the script, he's like, oh, it's Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo. I love that movie. I can't wait to do that. But of course, Sergio Leone was sued, and even Akira Kurosawa said, you know, I loved your movie. I made that movie. You owe me money. And of course, it makes a lot of sense. Now, this movie, this feels like a Sergio Leone movie. This feels like a precursor to what I consider one of the greatest westerns of all time, and even one of the greatest films of all time, Once Upon a Time in the West. A lot of elements you see in Once Upon a Time in the West, and I guess in Once Upon a Time in America as well. I just feel like, you know, that's where Sergio Leone, it's a great movie. He just got a little bit too ambitious, even though it is a fantastic film. Once Upon a Time in the West is like that perfect Sergio Leone movie. So when I watch all the westerns he did before Once Upon a Time in the West, I just kind of can see the precursor of that great filmmaker, even though For a Few Dollars More is a fantastic film. I don't want to sell this film short at all. This is still a very solid, very entertaining western. It's got all the elements of a great spaghetti western. You can see the influences on Quentin Tarantino when you watch this movie. Like I said, the big opening with Lee Van Cleef's character, when he unfolds the weapon holster on his horse and he picks out the right gun to kill the guy. What an awesome introduction. Very similar to the introduction to Clint Eastwood's character in A Fistful of Dollars. You know, we're really getting to know that this guy, you know, he's a badass himself, and him and the Man with No Name, they're going to have to team up in this movie, even though they clearly would rather be on their own. And, you know, when they first meet each other, it's like just a really big pissing contest, you know.
Shake your dicks, this pissing contest is over.
Clint Eastwood shooting the hat off of Lee Van Cleef's head, then shooting it around. You know, it's like, which one? And, you know, one thing about Lee Van Cleef's character, he's the older guy, he's the more mature guy. He just kind of takes it on the chin and just kind of rolls with it, where lets, you know, Clint Eastwood's character really be the badass of the room. And Clint Eastwood is a badass in this movie, like you'd expect him to be. You know, very limited dialogue, like in A Fistful of Dollars. But it just works so well. You know, you're scared of this guy. Don't fuck with this guy. And of course, the villain in this movie, we really have to build this up as somebody who needs two people to take him down. And that character's name is Nino, played by Mario Brega. You know, obviously, he's dubbed in this movie like everybody else is pretty much dubbed in this movie. Even our main actors, I'm pretty sure, were re-recorded after it was done. Like Lee Van Cleef and Clint Eastwood, you know, they can speak with English accents. They are two of the biggest names in Western history. But of course, they're doing a spaghetti Western, just like the first film. It's a co-production between Spain, Germany, and Italy. America has nothing to do with this, except that it's got a couple Americans in the movie. And it takes place like the first movie, kind of along the American-Mexican border. But this movie also feels bigger than the last movie. The first movie, you know, they had to make an excuse for why there's not many people in the movie. Like, oh, this is a very deserted town. The whole movie takes place in that town. You know, this is really expanding on that movie. The shootouts, they feel great. Classic suspense like in any Sergio Leone movie. Great Amira Morricone score. I would say that this Amira Morricone score definitely influenced Quentin Tarantino even more than like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. When you hear this, you know, sounds very similar to something you would hear in Django Unchained. And the movie in general feels like it inspired Django Unchained in a lot of ways. We know Quentin Tarantino loves those spaghetti westerns. And when you watch For a Few Dollars More, you're like, yeah, this one must have been a big one for him, because there's a lot of elements pulled from this movie that he puts in a lot of his movies. But it just feels like it's building on everything he started in A Few Dollars More, and it would all culminate in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I actually really did appreciate that even though the villain, he's a fucking monster. At the beginning of the movie, he kills an 18-month-old kid. That really tells us that this guy is the worst of the worst. But they try and make him feel, they actually try and give him reasoning for doing what he's doing and why he's such a monster. And, I really appreciate those elements. Like I was saying, Sergio Leone, he's just getting better and better as a filmmaker when you watch this. Clint Eastwood's getting better and better. It's just, when you compare this to A Fistful of Dollars, you just kind of don't get those big Clint Eastwood moments, like with the caskets. They try and do the casket thing at the very end where, he's kind of counting the bodies and how much money he's going to get for them. And one guy tries to sneak up behind him when he's at 22,000. He just quickly turns around, shoots him, and goes 27,000. And then Lee Van Cleef's like, "You all right?" And he's like, "Yep, my math was just wrong." Like, that's a moment right out of A Fistful of Dollars. And I still feel like, in my opinion, I enjoy A Fistful of Dollars a little bit more. That's more just Clint Eastwood's movie. Not that Lee Van Cleef is bad in this movie. This one just feels like a half step down. But even though this movie is still very, very important to the entire Man with No Name trilogy, and also be very important to everybody who's involved in this film's career. So I don't want to sell this one short. It's still great. It's still one of the best spaghetti westerns of all time. But if I have to compare it to the two films on the side of it, A Fistful of Dollars and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, there's a reason why this one suffers from middle child syndrome. It's just a little bit more forgettable, even though it has some fantastic elements in there that I absolutely love. And if you're watching the Man with No Name trilogy, there's never a reason to skip for a few dollars more. But hey, we're here to talk about that new 4K Blu-ray, so let's just dive right into it. Well, here it is for a few dollars more. Like we've talked about in the past, our video is releasing one of these each and every single month. Unfortunately, A Fistful of Dollars was delayed to May, so we got both of them in this month, and we'll get The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in June. And they're doing a couple things to really make these stand out together. Like when you go on the side here, I don't know if you guys can tell, but they blend together. And even when you swap it on this side, it's the same thing. So no matter which way you go, these will blend together. And I imagine The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So when it's on your shelf, it's going to look awesome like that. Very similar artwork on the outside. When you come underneath, we got the slip cover over the actual Arrow Video obese box. You look at it, nice, beautiful artwork on the outside, as you would imagine. You come inside, there's some great paper stock right here. A poster as well. I mean, everything you had in A Fistful of Dollars carries over there for a few dollars more. You come inside, this artwork is reversible if you want to go with the white movie poster. I just thought that everything else in here is dark, so I went with the black one, but you can reverse that as well. Arrow Video giving us plenty of options, as you'd imagine. When you come inside, you got one 4K disc and one Blu-ray disc, and just like A Fistful of Dollars, everything on that Blu-ray disc is Region B. 4Ks, they're region free. You can watch them anywhere in the world, but that Blu-ray disc, this is a Region B release from the UK, so I had it imported here to the United States. In the United States, Kino Lorber has the rights to these. They've released these on 4K Blu-ray. I actually don't own those, so I can't compare them to these, but I imagine the quality of the film itself, it probably doesn't compare from what I've heard from others. I can't say for sure myself. But anyway, if you do have a Region B player, you'll be able to watch those extras. Or there's always workarounds with the Panasonic 820 if you want to go that route as well. But just know that going into this, if you have a Region A player, you have an Xbox Series X, you're not going to be able to watch those extras. And there are a ton of extras on there, including, I think I counted 6 new interviews, a brand new video essay, everything that was also previously released, so plenty of archival stuff, and a new interview with Sergio Leone that was never fully released from 1983 is on here as well. I mean, they load up that second disc full of extras, and if you're an extras junkie like me, I think this actually had more extras than A Fistful of Dollars, which surprised the hell out of me. It's just awesome. Now, given the interviews are with more, modern historians, Lee Van Cleef's biographer, you're not going to really get any new interviews with Clint Eastwood today, but everyone they do get new interviews with, I really appreciate that. Arrow Video is still keeping new extras alive. I love that. Most studios, even like Kino Lorber, they're usually at the mercy of what's available to them. They're not going to go out of their way, but Arrow Video knows the importance of the Dollars trilogy, the Man with No Name trilogy, and they went out of their way, and they got new interviews, and I'm telling you, you're going to want to check those out. Now that first disc, that region-free 4K Blu-ray disc, you can watch this movie in Italian or English. There is 3 audio tracks, which I thought was pretty cool, because they actually break down for you when you go to the audio, the difference difference between the two mono tracks. The first mono track is unedited, and they kind of just went in there, and it's a cleaned up audio track originally released in the past, but they felt like there were some issues in the high frequency moments where things would get distorted, so they adjusted that, and that's where the second mono track comes in. They make sure to point that out, and then of course there is the DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. I tested all three of them out. Like it says, some of those moments in the first audio track are distorted. They fixed them, but they don't pack the same punch in the second audio track. Now that DTS HD Master 5.1, that's the route I chose to go. I choose to watch that with the surround sound. I really appreciated that. Is it good? They're all pretty good. They all feature a little bit of like errors of the time, and you can't fix everything. Think about when these movies were made, where they were made, on location, where the mic placement was. Sometimes you're gonna have a little bit of hissing, but really nothing that's gonna take you out of it. There really wasn't any pops as well, so overall the audio was fantastic. But you guys are all here to know about those visuals. How are those visuals? Well, my god, it looked better than A Fistful of Dollars, which already looks stunning on 4K Blu-ray. You get HDR10 and Dolby Vision, but this is just stunning in my opinion. I guess they got better with how they filmed once they go from A Fistful of Dollars to this, because I can't imagine that the restoration process was any different. One of the extras is actually the restoration process for the DVD, not for these new 4K Blu-rays, but still, hey, it's an archival extra. They put it in there. Always appreciate stuff like that. But this, with all the close-ups that Sergio Leone loves to do, you're going to see every single bit of detail. One thing I love about Sergio Leone and just spaghetti westerns in general, they make sure that these fucking people look like they've been through hell and back. He's not trying to sugarcoat anything. This is not a Hollywood western. I mean, these guys have sunburnt skin. They look dirty. They look disgusting. They feel disgusting. And you're going to see all of that in beautiful 4K. I mean, it's incredible what those close-ups look like and how it looks. The color looks natural and realistic. Even when wearing, there's nothing that's unsteady while you're watching this, because there's a lot of big landscape shots. One thing about Sergio Leone is he loves his extreme close-ups, and he also loves his extreme wide shots. He likes to go from extreme to extreme either way, or it's going to look beautiful, full of detail, full of color. Obviously it's a 1960s spaghetti western shot, in Spain, so it's going to have this very faded look to it. You don't want to lose that. You don't want to oversaturate it. They didn't do any of that. I mean, honestly, this is a perfect visual transfer, and the entire package, it's incredible. It really is a huge upgrade from any time I've ever seen this film. Again, I haven't seen the Kino Lorber 4K Blu-rays to compare it to, so we're going back a few generations as far as the quality that I've seen this in, but my god, I feel like I got my money's worth. When Kingdom of Heaven comes out for $55, and this was $37 to import from the UK, it's really a night and day difference. I get it, Kingdom of Heaven is like one of those big discs that people are waiting for, but the amount of stuff that you get in here, I mean, they left no stone unturned, Arrow, and this is a premiere release of 2025. And if I was going to give this one a score of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. And I imagine we're building up to a 10 out of 10 with the good, and the bad, and the ugly, but we don't know for sure. We'll have to wait and see when that 4K Blu-ray comes out in June, and I'll have a review for you guys then. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know what you guys think for a few dollars more. Leave those comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share this video. We also have channel memberships, guys, so if you want to become a friend of the channel, a producer for the channel like John Doe Juggalo, a channel director like Nicholas Head, Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews, Kevin Kruger, and Uncle V, you could do that, or you can even become a channel bankroll member like Mr. Smelly Potato. But as always, guys, no pressure at all. I just hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, get out in those streets, tell your friends about us, and then we'll be seeing you around.